Holy shit! The good version of M. Night Shyamalan is back! It's a redemption, a reprieve, a comeback, a bona fide Shyamalan-assance! Okay, so granted, making a better movie than The Village, Lady in the Water, The Happening, The Last Airbender, After Earth, The Visit isn't exact. Wow, it really has been a long time, hasn't it? I mean, geez, that's a lot of terrible movies. Wow! But anyway, yes, I recognize saying M. Night Shyamalan made his best movie in years sounds like the lead up to a backhanded compliment, inasmuch as he's spent the last 13 years making not just bad movies, but some of the worst mainstream Hollywood films of the 21st century. But no, I'm coming at you very sincerely here, folks. Split is a genuinely good movie. Not as good as The Sixth Sense or Unbreakable or Signs, but damn good all the same. And if not for a handful of unfortunate and, it must be said, predictably Shyamalan-esque missteps, it might even have been great. Still, it's an M. Night Shyamalan genre movie opening in January. Be thankful for good. But alright, so the premise here is that three young women have been abducted and are being held captive in an unknown location for an ominous and initially mysterious purpose by a severely disturbed man played by James McAvoy, whom the three captives, primarily a standoffish outsider played by Anna Taylor-Joy, must engage in a game of deadly cat and mouse in order to finagle their escape. Unfortunately for them, their captor's deep psychological damage manifests itself in the form of multiple personalities, meaning they aren't just dealing with one nemesis, but about 23 of them, each with their own agendas and interpersonal conflicts, both with the girls and with each other. Meanwhile, we also get to know the villain's therapist, who doesn't know about the girls, but believes that he could be the living proof of her long-held theory that some people who develop this disorder under particularly traumatic circumstances may be capable of unlocking the power to transform themselves not just psychologically, but also physically, which would be bad news for the girls since a handful of his 23 other selves claim to have developed a religion built around a hypothetical 24th personality called the Beast, whom they claim is a literal man-eating monster with superhuman strength and invulnerable skin. And if you're just now putting it together that the idea of suffering, trauma, unlocking literal or figurative facets of human potential seems to be a favorite theme that Shyamalan keeps revisiting across many of his films, well, how about that, huh? But yeah, no prizes for guessing that if the therapist wasn't right about her theory, there wouldn't be a movie for us to watch in the first place. It's all completely absurd nonsense, to be sure, especially if you know anything about the real-world versions of disorders like this, which, yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit, where every narrative conceit only exists to let Shyamalan craft a nasty, creepy, just different enough variation on a typical kidnapping thriller and give McAvoy the chance to deliver the kind of show-offy, look up on my range, ye mortals, and tremble performance that every actor seems to secretly dream of giving under the right circumstances. But the thing about Shyamalan is, what always got lost amid the auteurist egomania and the unplaced pretentiousness is that he really is a hell of a director, with a great eye for building suspense and a real gift for drawing out great performances. For all its quieter, more meditative moments, Split, whether its director wants to cop to it or not, is very much a work of lurid, trashy B-movie schlock, but of a very, very distinguished vintage thereof. And that's without even discussing the ending, which, holy shit, you wouldn't believe me if I told you. Sadly, there are some serious problems that keep it from being great instead of merely just good. Most egregiously, a running flashback subplot that's meant to gradually reveal why our main heroine is made of sterner stuff than the other captives, that eventually makes sense in context, but is also sleazy and exploitative in a way that doesn't fit tonally with the rest of the film at all and ends up feeling incredibly unnecessary and just, yuck. Inappropriate tonal shifts having always been Shyamalan's ultimate Achilles heel. I mean, think of all those times you laughed in The Happening when you were clearly supposed to have been terrified. Also, yeah, as much as I like the film itself as a film in and of itself, you can't ignore the fact that tying real-life psychiatric issues and conditions like DID to the highly fictionalized and eventually straight-up science fiction business Split builds its plot around is seriously uncool and likely makes life very difficult for people who are struggling with stuff like this in real life. Look, I understand why they do it. It makes the movie scarier if you can tie it to a real thing the audience has heard of, but there's a real fine line to walk there that that you've got to be real careful with, and Split is just not the sort of movie that's careful about anything. Now, I still recommend it strictly as a film, but you have to recognize that not everyone can or should be expected to compartmentalize in that way. But yes, for the purposes at hand, Split is some seriously entertaining suspense thriller junk food, to which I will award 3 stars. Check it out, and for fuck's sake, do not let anyone give away the ending for you.